Whenever you experience some form of torture or trauma, there's a break in the continuity. And everything just gets fragmented, there's chaos.
I wished for death, but it didn't happen.
And the best way to transcend that torture is to actually put life in perspective.
A lot of these techniques are done to silence people.
They give acid, then they ask you questions step by step.
Because they know people won't be able to talk about these particular experiences. Sometimes you've got to get creative.
And if there is an antidote, it's being able to put it all together. My name?
Yes.
Okay. My name is Pearl Fernandez.
Yep.
I am a clinical psychologist and I've been at STARTS for almost 20 years now.
I'm Yvette Aiello and I'm a clinical psychologist as well, and I'm the senior clinical group counsellor at STARTS, and I've been here for about 5 years.
Okay. In my interactions with you two, you kind of present as this double act. So I want to just take me back to the beginning of how you two met. Okay, good. I know there's a story there. Fantastic. Let's hit this one.
I came as a student and Pearl was my first supervisor here at STARTS.
Let's not. Okay, go.
That's a story.
Okay, go.
Yeah, and this is exactly how it started. And it was very professional for about 6 months.
6 minutes?
6 minutes? Not long.
The first time I actually met her was when she attended a training that I did.
Oh, yeah.
No,
Yeah.
There is something about Yvette. She's very honest, but actually we are not talking as much as you think we are with each other. I don't know if you
We
feel...
talk constantly. Every day she says, I had so many things to talk to you and I didn't get a chance. We've got to make time to talk. And I think, what do we do all day? Isn't that all we do?
Okay, so you're these two actually quite bright, bubbly, warm people who talk and deal in some of the worst of human experiences. Do you appreciate why that looks a bit odd from the outside? What was the initial interest in it?
Yeah.
Dealing with people that have been through the worst.
I think there's something about not only the vulnerability but the strength. To understand how people can survive experiences like that is really fascinating. And it's really empowering or enriching to witness those journeys. We actually have a block of ice in the middle of the group and we're like, what's this ice about? It's like, well, that's how we're all feeling right now. We're completely frozen. We all feel really uncomfortable in this situation and you just kind of put it out there.
We acknowledge our own...
Yeah, we're like, yeah, we're a bit uncomfortable too. Like, that's
literally have a block of ice.
Yeah, we were like, oh, how
in
should
the
we...
middle of the room to symbolise how awkward you are.
Because it's great.
That is the weirdest thing I've ever
I know, we were
heard.
like, oh, we need some icebreaker for this group. And I'm like, well,
Yes, we have an ice in the middle.
We bring in this block of ice on this plate and we put it in the middle of the room. And there's a whole group of guys who've never met before.
Pretend they haven't seen it.
Yeah,
So-
everyone's avoiding the ice, but also looking at the ice and avoiding each other. There's many reasons we chose to use ice. One, because it's funny. Two, because it's a metaphor for exactly how they're feeling and how they're behaving in that first session. So everybody is completely frozen. Everybody's tight, there's barely any movement, and they're all sitting in their seats, barely interacting.
The way it works is that you tend to disconnect from your body because the only way they would have survived the brutality that they've gone through is if they disconnect. So it's a good metaphor of what happened then and what's continuing to happen.
Ali, not his real name, was kidnapped and tortured by ISIS in Iraq.
So we know that he was a police officer and that he also defused bombs. He's Christian from the Chaldean background. Obviously being Christian, they were targeted by ISIS.
Ali's family believed he was dead and even held a funeral for him.
واحدة من الصور القصف يعني اللي كان يصير بمناطقنا.
Photos to show these are some of the suburbs. And you can see this is how I lived. This is my daily life.
Ali's agreed to speak with us because he wants people to understand what being tortured by ISIS is really like.
You remember the day you were taken?
6/8/2014.
The 6th of August 2014.
What happened? How did they take you?
وراها يعني من دخلوا علينا بصراحة أني يعني ما
Well, when they entered, I didn't think they would arrest us. I thought they would just ask us to leave, like other families. But actually they shocked us because they arrested us and they put plastic, and they put us in a small caravan. As you can see, they broke my pelvic area, my spinal cord as well. They injured my spinal cord. There's a prolapse in the eyelid because they used to hit me on the eye, on the head. You can see the traces of electricity when they used to electrify me. The nerve actually, because of the electricity they've been using on me, the nerve is not working. It's like a dead nerve now in the area. These are the physical things that I'm suffering, but you add to this the psychological status, the mental status was very difficult.
كنت أشوف الموت يوميا يمكن 5 مرات 6 مرات من كثر التعذيب. تمنيت الموت بس ما صار.
I faced death 6 to 5 times a day. I wished for death, but it didn't happen.
Why do you think it didn't happen?
ليش اعتقدت ما صار الموت؟
إرادة ربي.
The will of God. God's will.
I think lots of people see the news about ISIS, and I think they see bombings and headlines, and I don't think they really understand what it means on the ground. To the extent that you are happy to share, what do you think people should really know about what happens when ISIS moves into a town?
طبعاً
They can't imagine the slaughtering, the killing, taking out organs from people while they are alive, all these kind of practices.
شفناها احنا طفلة صغيرة قدامنا.
They actually slaughtered a girl, but they didn't do it from the neck. They actually, while she was alive, they widely opened her tummy from the chest to the tummy. And they took out her organs, she's alive, and then they slaughtered her, they killed her because they said it's better to kill her at this age rather than growing up to become a slut.
What age?
شنو عمرها؟
تقريبا كانت تطلع لها 3 سنوات هيك.
3 years.
We realise that the brain can't delete information. You can't actually just forget something because you can't take the memory out of your brain. So you can try to forget, but you're asking something that your brain isn't built to do.
As I understand it, part of the goal here is to get them to the place where they can and still remember it, but they're not reliving it. So how do you get people to a place where these horrible things are there, but they are not debilitating?
If you are able to remember and make sense of or make meaning of those experiences in your life, through that they become...
That's the healing process.
That's the healing process, and they won't keep coming up when you don't want them to. It's kind of like facing the monster, I guess. Sometimes you've got to get creative.
Can I ask what that is?
You can. It is a tire that we use in the group as one of our exercises to help introduce the concept of trauma recovery.
Where did the tyre come from?
The street.
Did you just steal a tyre off the street for therapeutic purposes?
Yes.
We tie a number of cords to it, number of strings, nylon cords.
Typically speaking, how many guys do you have?
We'll usually have about 8 men in the group. Each of them would have a string. And then we'll just ask them to it's also like a bit of a get to know you game. So I'll call out the person's name, swap sides. So Mark, I'll swap with you.
Ibek.
And then, okay, let's cross again.
We try this again.
Get across.
Pearl.
Okay,
Come on,
okay,
jump on through.
jump on through.
After we've done this for a while, we've got a really nice knot in the middle there. Create a knot.
This part I can do.
All right, let's create some nice knots here.
You take that one, I'll take that one.
Okay, that's a nice mess.
Sometimes we can ask
This is a
them,
proper allegory I can get behind.
but you're looking at the person, calling the person's name, making eye contact. Because most of them do not know each other.
Right.
They're all strangers.
We understand that when you have been through trauma, the way that your memory processes occur, they often become quite confused, and we say the wires are tangled. And that's a really nice concept that they can relate to, and they often say, yeah, it feels like my brain is tangled, and all the wires are just crossed, and I'm not getting signals where I want them to go. Things are coming up when I don't want them to come up. So we're saying, okay, this is kind of a representation of those tangled wires in our brain. So what do we do about it?
You actually have to retrace your steps. Because if you want to untangle it, you actually have to go back.
Can you tell me about the first time you met Pearl and Yvette?
When first time I meet, I feel scared now. Feel not sleep, I can't eat. Physically, mentally, I have problem.
He was captured by the Sri Lankan army, and during that time he was brutally tortured, including sexually violated by army officers over multiple nights.
But different people come, then take off the cloth, they have a sexual torture. Then people laugh.
He had really bad internal injuries from that. Having escaped that and trying to escape the country, he was then again caught in Malaysia and was again imprisoned and again sexually violated.
By whom?
Other inmates.
Feel like want to die, something like that. But my parents, they protect me my life.
Did they know what happened to you?
Yeah, they know, because when I go toilet, I can't sit properly toilet. But they hold me when I sit down. They hold me.
Have either of you ever considered quitting?
No.
So the fact that it is so horrible is why it's so important to do.
I think it hurts that one man can be so cruel to another for no reason. But when you are there and you kind of feel the trust that the men have, actually disclosed this level of intimacy to you, I mean, there's something happens.
You don't want to walk away.
You don't want to walk away.
So we lay the rope out. So at one end we have birth. The other end it's still a bit tangled up because that's life yet to come. Stones. Stones are a representation of the difficult experiences in their life. And the flowers are about the positive experiences in your life.
Whenever you experience some form of torture or trauma, there's a break in the continuity. Your thoughts, your emotions, your feelings. But often because you're in it, you don't see that this is what's happened. So we are kind of bringing it together. What we do is we help them look at life as a whole. And the best way to transcend that torture and the trauma is to actually put life in perspective.
Before I feel angry, I get upset. After when I came here, then I slowly better.
In the years that you've spent here at Starts, what have you learnt about yourself?
That we don't know everything.
Yeah.
We continue to learn every day. And life is the best university really, but we learn it through our clients. They teach us how much more there is to life. We worked with many clients who have their bodies broken, but there is something about the human spirit that never gives up.